Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Welcome to Sterling on Sinemas. That is Cinemas with an S. And today on DreamWorks animation playlist, DreamWorks Tuesdays, I'll be giving you my review on Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron. Before I begin, if you are new to this channel, welcome. We are 2 steps closer from last I saw. We are 2 steps closer from getting them 300 subs. Keep on giving me the numbers. Keep on giving me your support and your time and your effort, and keep on giving me your attention throughout your days and throughout your lifetime so that you'll continue to help me grow as a YouTuber. Like I said, if you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Don't forget to comment and like and share with your friends and family, because that will most definitely help those numbers stimulate. And if you're watching this on Instagram, I know you would usually see me on the live, but I had to cut it short for time. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's ride. Now, I know last week you saw me give my review on The Golden Child, which I was believing would be my shortest review, since I didn't really have that much to say about it. I tried to nitpick my complaints and point out the strongholds about that film that I could, and this was no exception. I tried to nitpick. I really had one complaint about this, or one downfall, or there was one thing that I wish they had include that wasn't in the film, and then the majority of it is mostly eye candy that I praise. So, Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron, follows the adventures of a wild and rambunctious mustang stallion as he journeys through the untamed American frontier. Encountering man for the first time, Spirit defies being broken, because you cannot break a spirit. You can break a flesh, but you can't break a spirit. Even as he develops a remarkable friendship with a young Lakota brave, that's a Native American, the courageous young stallion also finds love with the beautiful paint mare named Rain, and on his way to becoming one of the greatest unsung heroes of the Old West. Now, to say the least, the 6th animated film by DreamWorks Animation treats itself less like a fictitious tale of talking horses, which is what I was expecting, and swaps it out for an insightful self-realization of the magnificence of Western American culture. Which I can tell you, as somebody that has been to the west side of the U.S., it is beautiful over there. At least to the countryside of things, like the very broad, vast landscapes of the mountains and the rocks and the hills. It's very beautiful, and it is just always a miracle to see a glimpse of God's glorious work. Anyway, my thoughts beforehand would have been subverted whether I have known what I was getting into or not. However, when it comes to cartoon animals, you guys of all people know it is always of high anticipation for them to speak, right? I mean, they're animated, they're animals, so you expect them to do everything except what a real version of that animal would. This has constantly been the rep for animated films with a non-human cast. Most preferably Pixar. You've seen talking fish, talking monsters, talking toys, talking cars, and many more. Once again, DreamWorks implements the geometrical environments with 2D animation in the hopes of magnifying the grand scale of the Western landscapes, from the canyons and the rivers and the forest and the mountains and the and the hill valleys and the valley hills, you know. But as with The Prince of Egypt, which I truly adore, I absolutely praise that film for doing a lot of justice to the book of Exodus. I believe that this is methodical for increasing the scope and intensifying the legitimacy of the world. The whole 2D animation and the whole 3D environments with 2D animation, I think that's very methodical, and it's a nice strategy to take advantage of. The story of the Old West, as told in the words of Matt Damon's voice in the opening narration, the story of the Old West was written from the saddle of a horse, but never told from the heart of one. And this is where we get the Spirit. Now, Spirit may be a wholesome experience on the first viewing for any ordinary pair of eyes, but the only offset is the lack of voiceovers from any of the stallions, including Spirit. Because, well, I ain't gonna lie, that opening to when Stallion to when Spirit was getting born, reminded me too much of The Lion King. And no, this film ain't no Lion King. Lion King will always beat this movie any day, 1994. But what I would, but you would expect, at least in the first half or after an opening monologue like this, to hear some animals speak, but you don't get that. It's very, treats itself much like a nature documentary and doesn't really give a crap about the whole animation and it being G-rated and it being for audiences. Every audiences of all ages or being animated, it still treats itself like a legit, wholesome thing. It is not believed that the lack of any voiceovers, though, for any animals, even though Matt Damon is the voice of Spirit, technically he is the voice of Spirit and comes off as the narrator, but you never see Spirit open his mouth and you hear Matt Damon's voice speaking, but Matt Damon is the narrator and he's the voice inside his Spirit's head. Just like how you would see in films like Homeward Bound, where the animals aren't really talking, but you hear the voiceovers, the actors' voiceovers in the heads of those animals. But this was to keep, I don't believe that this was to keep the film from being predictable. This decision indicates that producer Jeffrey Katzenberg, former ex-Disney employee, which is why these movies have been so amazing, intended for this to be a serious historical outlook based on the real-life Kiger Mustang breed, which might all of them are not this color right here, but you know, they're the same stature, the same size, and they run at the same speed as Spirit. Perhaps this choice to exclude dialogue by the animals serves as a leverage and as a limitation for whatever your feelings are toward the story. Just keeping it real. Rotten Tomatoes gives Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron, a 69% recommendation. Very close, very accurate to the way I'm feeling. Anyway, Spirit is going to come off as National Geographical-esque for some people, as well as being the closest thing to realism by DreamWorks' standards. Like, this is probably the only thing that will come off as something real and something accurate or authentic in real life, and everything else after will completely go back to the drawing board of being completely fictitious and full of talking animals or talking creatures or inanimate objects. Overall, Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron, bribes us with the beauty of exhilarating our eyes with the western landscape throughout its many domains. Like I said, from the grasslands to the valley hills to the mountains to the trees to the rivers and everywhere that you can ever imagine. The canyons as well. I mean, as seen from the perspective of the eagle in the opening, the eagle is guiding you through, is giving you a tour throughout the western landscape, kind of like Soarin' from Disney's Epcot. But for all of that, I will give it a 6.8 out of 10. It deserves a 6.8 out of 10. It's alright. It's not DreamWorks' best, and it's better than El Dorado, but it doesn't even come close to Ants or The Prince of Egypt or my boy Shrek. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have seen Spirit, Stallion, the Cimarron, feel free to share your comment or your opinion in the section below, and I'll see you guys next time tomorrow in my next video. Or just see you next time, because can't really guarantee I can post something to you guys tomorrow. But peace!